the Insiders, and man, are we excited to be here today.
It's a party, baby!
What's going on, everybody? Happy Sunday night, and welcome to another episode of the weekly wrestling wrap-up with the Insiders. Good to see you all, and hope you all had a great weekend. A lot of stuff going on in the world of wrestling, as it usually is, and a lot of stuff happened, of course, over this past weekend as well, with a big pay-per-view event that happened last night. And we'll try to get into all of that as much as we can in the next couple of hours. As always, with me, my co-host Jeff. Jeff, again, another crazy week of wrestling. A lot of stuff going on. We've got 2 pay-per-views coming up next week. We just had a big one yesterday. Always going forward is the crazy world that we talk about every week.
Yeah, never a dull moment in the world of wrestling. So makes shows like this good because we have a lot to cover.
Absolutely. Conrad says, good evening, like a vampire. He comes into the chat. What's up, Conrad? How are you? All right. Some quick items of interest. So, as far as we go this week, we'll let you know about Abby's tomorrow. As far as we know, it's a go. So 6:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. Make sure you join Jeff and Jody for Abby's window. Then we will have on Thursday is a Impact Go Home show. Their go home shows are always awesome, and don't think this one will be any different. So we have a go home show for Impact that starts at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Thursday. After the Impact, which we do after the show, which I guess it was pretty much why it's called After the Impact. But anyway, we're going to do our prediction show for this Saturday's Impact pay-per-view. We'll do that on After the Impact this week. So that will double as a prediction show for this week, which is what we do whenever Impact has a pay-per-view on Saturday, which is coming Saturday they do. Friday, Jeff and I will be doing an interview with Hernandez of Impact Wrestling. We will be talking to him, and we will get that out to you whenever we can. Of course, interview is a little bit different. We can't really do those live a lot of the times because it's always up to the guests that we have and what time they have to give us. So we kind of have to go by them. We do it ahead of time, but we will get that out to you as soon as we can. And I saw some of you did put out questions of the stuff that you want us to ask. I saw a couple of comments on the YouTube page and stuff. So keep those coming in. If you have any questions for Hernandez, we will certainly shout you out. Let him know that you asked and you wanted to know. So let us know if you have any questions for him. So that should be cool. We haven't done interviews in a while. Used to do quite a bit of them. It's kind of our bread and butter. We really enjoy it. So good to be getting back to that. And then Saturday, the pay-per-view. Impact pay-per-view, of course, it starts at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. As usual, we will do that. There may be a pre-show. Hopefully, we'll see the match after we start, but it will be at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time start time. And then Sunday, already Survivor Series. Man, stuff goes quick. Tribute to the Troops was earlier today. I think it was on at 4:00-ish around there. I think that went for an hour. They did tape that. So it was taped prior. But Survivor Series is this coming Sunday. So, again, should be a 7:30 start time. If something changes for whatever reason, we will let you guys all know about that. So, busy week. Of course, we won't have this show next weekend because we just won't have time to do it. And our predictions, Jeff and I were talking about Survivor Series predictions, which we will maybe do them a little bit differently. Like each one of us might do them in a small, short little clip and kind of get them together and just put them out on the channel. We really don't have a day when we could do them. So that's what it's looking like we'll do for that. So, okay, let me welcome some people in and we'll get into it because we've got a lot of stuff to talk about. So we've got Jen Carter. Hey, Jen, what's up? How are you tonight? We've got the Coog. Says congratulations to Hangman. Yeah, we'll get into that. We got Azan here as well. Azan, how are you? Scrolling. We've got Big Dan, who's doubling up and watching the Raiders. Yeah, the Raiders games tonight against the Chiefs. Derek Fleming is back. Derek met some more wrestlers while he was gone. So very cool. Derek saw some people, which is always cool. So welcome back, Derek. Jason Peace is here. What's up, Jason? How are you? Dana Jones is here. Do you think Kenny Omega's mad at the Young Bucks? Well, I'm sure they'll probably write that into the story somehow. And then we've got Conrad, of course. We said hello to Conrad earlier. Ran into the Bucks, says Derek, at the airport this morning, as well as Mr. and Mrs. Bay. That's pretty cool, man. That's awesome. Who else? Jason Stauffer is here. Says congrats to Cowboy Adam Page. Janelle is here. Hello to you. How are you tonight? Hope you are all well. Okay. All right. Looks like we'll probably get other stragglers coming in as we go. But in the meantime, we're going to get started. So, Jeff, I think we might have some breaking news.
Yeah, I think we got a little bit of news to cover. The first thing that we're going to start with, though, is an appearance and a face-off.
We did. So this is what, I always say on this show that a lot of times dirt sheets get things right, but it's always they get it right at the wrong time. They mentioned, Bronson Reed's name was flying around out there when Impact had their last big pay-per-view, saying that, he was supposed to be there and, not really sure why he's not there, or he's not signed, whatever the case might be. And then you got a little word from Bronson saying he had visa troubles and stuff like that, which is certainly a thing. It's happening to a lot of people, unfortunately, when they go back to their home country, have a hard time getting back because of COVID. Well, we got a Bronson Reed sighting, thanks to Azan, by the way, for messaging me about it earlier today. I didn't get to see it when it happened, but this was in New Japan. And yes, Bronson Reed confronted Moose. So Impact champion Moose, Bronson Reed confronted him and then pretty much came out and said he was New Japan's next big deal, is what he called himself. So it's interesting to see. We'll see what's going to happen and where he's going to go. Did he sign with Impact? Did he sign with New Japan? They share people quite often. I mean, we've seen Suzuki now. He's with Impact. So you'd kind of think that maybe, especially with this instance where he's confronting the champion, that this may be something that is going to happen now, which would be pretty cool, Jeff. Moose kind of backed away, and you don't see Moose back away from very many people, but he kind of just kind of backed away a little bit, kind of went his own way and let the big man standing in the room. So what do you think of Bronson Reed, Jeff? And where do you think he's going to end up?
It's a great question. I think he will end up doing a little more with New Japan than Impact per se. But I think, honestly, with how things are going between the companies, I wouldn't be surprised to see him show up in several different places. He's a big man. He is menacing. So, I think he fits quite well in quite a few promotions, honestly, just depending on what they do with him. But it was really cool to see these two face off and think of the possibilities. I mean, this match could be something special, and not just from a big man moveset perspective, because we've seen both of these guys show a lot of athleticism for their size. So yeah, this is actually something I didn't know I needed to see, but now I want to see it.
I'm just happy to see him back, as I am with, a lot of these people who were released and let go. And Bronson was one of those guys that you were really hyped up about seeing him on the main roster, because he came off that title run that he had in NXT, looking very dominant down there. And, you're kind of excited to see him. And then you just kind of got it turned on your head and you're like, oh, man, he's gone. So yeah, I'm kind of happy that you're seeing this, and boy, a confrontation with him and Moose, and whether he does some duty over an Impact. I mean, there's some bigger guys he can go up against down there that would really be interesting to see. So happy for Bronson Reed, glad to see him back, and this should be whatever he chooses to do or wherever he chooses to go. This should be very, very cool and something definitely to watch for. So definitely a surprise. Nobody really expected it, and hey, they surprised everybody. So that was very cool. Jeff said he's working on film. Yeah, Aaron, Bray obviously isn't. And listen, I noted this on her Twitter yesterday. People get sucked into. They get sucked into listening to the socials. I think a little too much. Bray is apparently right now at least not wrestling. He's working on a film, like Jeff said. He's in Tennessee, I believe, doing that. So he's not showing up in any wrestling capacity, I don't think, right now. And it could be a while because films take. I was talking to a friend of mine who worked in the movie industry, worked on Man of Steel and a couple other things doing special effects. But he said, any film, and even if it's a small film, if he's going to do something on Netflix, whatever it's going to be, it's a 9-month to a year thing. And if Bray's going to be acting and producing or doing both of that kind of thing, that takes up a hell of a lot of time, and you are just not going to have the time to do a wrestling schedule. So as much as I hate to disappoint everyone, and I had people on our Twitter saying it last night, oh, he's going to show up tonight. He's going to show up tonight at Full Gear. I really think you kind of have to get it out of your mind that he's showing up in wrestling anytime soon, because he's really not. He's made it clear he wants to do this movie thing. Whether he comes back to wrestling afterwards, maybe. But listen, we have to see, because if this is successful, he may stick with it for a while. And I have no problem with that at all. So, okay, Jeff, what have we got next?
All right, let's go. Got a little bit of a Full Gear review, Joe.
Full Gear review, yes. So I had every intention upon coming home after work and using some of my Fight TV credits that I thought I had and didn't. I literally was thinking I had enough to get a whole pay-per-view because I had apparently I had made 2 different accounts and all this other crap. So I was scrambling to look, and here I have like $10. So I didn't end up getting it after all. I saw a lot of things that happened. I was trying to pay attention to it on several different forms of social media, pictures, screenshots, all that kind of stuff. I don't like using that free streaming crap because it just comes up with so many ads. I can't take it. I hate closing out of ads every couple of minutes and all that stuff. I'd rather not even do that. So I didn't get to see. I haven't seen a lot of wrestling, unfortunately, this past week, and I didn't get to see that. But everything that happened, I did see and read about a lot of the major events. And of course, the biggest one, and everybody was talking about it already, of course, was Hangman Page and Cowboy shit. Yes, hashtag Cowboy shit. Hangman Page, of course, getting the win. He overcame pretty much everything a heel would in a match. He overcame the shenanigans. He overcame the referee getting dropped, which a lot of times when the referee gets dropped, it's not a good sign for the face. They end up somehow getting screwed and losing. He did not. He overcame a lot of that, and he ended up beating Kenny Omega in what people said was a very, very good match. I will probably go back and check it out when the pay-per-view goes down in price a little bit. I still can't believe they charge that much for pay-per-views. Come on, Tony Khan, you got a lot of money, dude. That's a lot of money for a pay-per-view. Anyway, I hope they get a streaming service sometime soon. People can pay like a streaming service fee, and they won't need to pay that much money for pay-per-views. But anyway, big thing with, of course, Hangman Page. We'll get into this a little bit later. I'll talk about it a little bit later on. Of course, we all know the story. This has been going on for a long time, nearly 2 years, since AEW started, really. And to see a story go on that long and the underdog to kind of fight his way up and also then get dropped back down a little bit and then fight his way back up again and overcome that, the staple champion, the heel who has been there for so long and everything like that. It was a big, big moment for fans of AEW, and a big, big moment for Hangman Adam Page as well. And he deserves all the accolades and deserves everything he got, and the celebration, of course, as well. It's a big event for him, and a big event for AEW, and a big event for their fans as well. And some other cool things were going on. You had a great match between Eddie Kingston, Eddie Guerrero. Eddie Guerrero was a lot of people paying tribute to him last night, which is a lot of cool stuff going on there too. But Eddie Kingston and CM Punk, although I didn't like the way it turned out. The winner of the match, I really didn't. I kind of would have gone the other direction, but that's just me. And several other matches and apparently the first 4 or 5 matches that went on, a lot of people were saying they were all amazing matches, and that's coming from people that were reviewing it, but also coming from just fans and stuff like that were watching it too. So big pay-per-view. A lot of people saying their biggest of the year, and I can see that with the results that you got, and of course with Hangman Page winning the title. So Kenny's been hurt for a long time. He deserves a rest after a great 2021 run. He may be gone for a while. We'll see. I don't think they're going to have him go back up against Hangman Page. Wouldn't make a lot of sense at this point. Bring somebody else in, bring another heel up, and have them go after him. So. So there were people still debating about whether or not they would do this and have him win it, namely Bully Ray on Busted Open. There are others kind of thinking that maybe wait and have him win it, not at this week's Dynamite, but the next one because it's in his hometown. But I think at this point you had to have a payoff. And Jeff, it was the right time.
Yeah, I mean, this made sense. I actually went through earlier and just kind of skimmed the pay-per-view because I was able to watch it, I'll say, and just leave it at that. So, I was able to go back through it. I thought, overall it was a good pay-per-view. I found it to be a little bit predictable. It's too bad we don't do predictions for AEW shows because I would get it right a lot of times. But it was a good night. This was all about Hangman Page, though. Yeah. This was his night. He deserved it. This is a payoff for a story that's been going on for a while, and I'm glad that he was the person to beat Kenny Omega. The fans love it. He's over like Rover, as they say. So it's good, it's good for him to get this opportunity. And there were some other good matches, great matches on the card. Like I said, things that, in your opinion, you're probably like, well, I probably would put this person over or put these people over. But, all in all, it was a really good show. But, still. I got some stuff to say that
Jeff may get into that still a little bit later.
Yeah, I will. Trust me, I will.
That's not a prediction. That's a spoiler. As Paul Heyman might say. Apparently, Tony Khan spoke after AEW and said that Jay Lethal would be the only Ring of Honor signing they would be making. Yeah, Jay Lethal, of course, was signed to AEW as well, meaning others can show an impact. Could be, Graham. I never know. Talking about Jay Lethal, of course. Yeah, Britt Baker retained her title. We got a number 1 contender in Daniel Bryan. That's kind of another thing that that one shocked me. I think more than a lot of the other things in the event. I really expected them to go Miro's way. It just kind of would have seemed a little more logical, especially with the end result that you got Hangman winning. Would have kind of seemed, that they might want to bring Miro up a little bit more, make him that major heel to go up against Hangman. But what are you going to do? MJF and Darby was my favorite match of the night. Yeah, I heard good things about that one too. I did see a scene where Jericho had a Prince symbol that he hit someone with. in that street fight, which was really odd. You saw the Prince, the thing Prince made himself when he started calling himself Symbol.
Which they were in Minneapolis, so I get it. It makes sense.
Yeah, true. That's right. Yeah, true. Good point.
I get it.
Good point. Good. Yeah, that's true. It was a tribute. I read Omega worked hurt. He absolutely needs a breather. DB is stepping up to the plate. Great 80s wrestling storyline vibes with the Page angle. Yeah. Jeff and Joe Funko Pops. Yes, I love that. I really do. I really do. Dan Lambert in Inner Circle. Kenny's been hurt for a while. Boo CM Punk says Dana. Eddie Kingston is injured. I did not hear that, but I wouldn't doubt it. It was pretty brutal. Six Man was a wild, bro. Yeah, the Luchasaurus and Christian and Jungle Boy. Yeah. Isn't just about Wyndham, but it seems like his relationship in wrestling and movies are intertwined. Will Jay Lethal be the new TNT champion? Do WWE will not put the title over? Thought Miro would win. Yeah, so did I. I was surprised to see that he didn't. So, okay, let's move on, Jeff.
Yeah, let's go from one AEW topic to another one that people are avoiding like the plague. Tony Khan and his comments on his contributions to, in specific, women's wrestling right now. This guy is
whomped. Yeah, this kind of went over like a lead balloon. I remember reading this, and I had to kind of do a double take, and I'm like, wow, he cut off, like he completely stopped her from talking. It was a little weird. A little odd. I think the woman came out a little later and said that they put everything behind them. It was a weird choice of words too, because she didn't really say apologized or anything of that nature. She just kind of said they put it behind them. Look, we've talked about the women's division in AEW for a long time on our show. Again, this is your personal choice. And like I said to all of you many, many, many times, you guys have to formulate your own opinions and we will tell you ours. So Conrad said he apologized privately. I'm only going by what the woman said. So if he apologized privately, which we wouldn't have known anyway, I'm only going by what the woman said. That's all I'm going by here. So whatever she followed up with, that's what I'm going by. So if he did, and then that came out later, I haven't read anything since the first day that I saw it. But we've talked about it as a sticking point. Say what you will. Yes, they are bringing some more great talent in. We've seen new people come and go. They still have a lot of, talented women on that roster. Yeah, I guess the question here is, she was asking him basically, are they going to do an all-women's show? And that's when he cut her off and said, I'm going to cut you off. He actually came out and said that. Hi, Supersonic X, how are you? Eric Travis, how are you? I'm going to cut you off. So he interrupted her and said he thinks that they're doing well with the women's division. So, I don't know. To me, I'm never going to be a billionaire, so I don't know what they think like. But to me, I kind of would have maybe just politely said, well, no, we're not really considering having an all-women show right now. We think we're good where we are. We think we're good where we stand. I would have let her finish the question. It's a legit question. I mean, other companies have done it. So I would have let her finish her question, and I would have just come out and said, well, no, we don't really think we need to do that right now. Listen, Triple H did the same thing. And he got crucified for it, if you remember correctly. In fact, we talked about it on our show. We kind of crucified him for it because he did the same thing on a I think it was on a conference call, if I'm not mistaken. And everybody crucified him. He got destroyed on the socials because of it. Oh, Triple H hates women, and he doesn't like. Yeah, and it went all over the place. So, what's good for the goose? Good for the gander. And again, you formulate your own opinion. You think what you think, and are they doing enough? with their women's division, who they do have an extremely amount of talented people. We see Britt Baker, yes. We see her defend titles, yes. Now we're seeing some of these matches from the tournament. So, I don't know. Long story short, to me, it was legit. It was a legit question. She's just asking, and if he wanted to, again, who am I to tell somebody who has billions of dollars what to do? But just being polite, let her ask the question, and then just say, I really don't think it's necessary. I think our women's division is really good. I think we have a lot of good athletes. We're doing this little tournament thing. We're getting this done. I think it's fine. Over and done with. Probably wouldn't have been that big of a deal. But I don't know, Jeff. What do you think?
I think a lot of things. I honestly, man, you brought up the point that I was going to bring up. I was going to ask the question: didn't Triple H say something similar to this a few months ago, and it drew the ire of basically everyone? And people were just like burying Triple H and talking trash on him and everything. But this is a different situation. I'm gonna say this, and I've given Tony Khan a new moniker. And I'm going to say this, and I'm sure that the people that already think I'm a hater of AEW and, I don't give them a chance and anything else that you think about me. I'm going to say this, and hopefully this doesn't upset you, but this is Teflon Tony at this point. Stuff just bounces off. This was a story a few days ago, and then all of a sudden they put on a good pay-per-view. Hey, it's all good. It's all good because they put on a great show. But my thing is the women's roster, the women's division has improved for AEW. Kudos, because before we were getting one segment, and they lasted like 3 minutes. I know certain journalists like to time women's segments on other shows, but I didn't see them doing that same thing back in the day. But I digress when it comes to some of the wrestling journalists or whatever they call themselves. So it's just interesting to me. There is a better way to handle this. But I agree with something that Conrad said. A lot of this should have and could have been handled privately. Had he had a that big of a problem with the question, there are other ways to handle it and handle it privately, or just don't answer the question. Just say next question. That's
no comment.
No comment, or let's move on. I'll talk about the women's division at another time, but right now, no comment.
True.
There's other ways, but who are we? We're not billionaires. We're not Teflon Tony. So,
It's so funny how it just comes down to just being human sometimes. The silliest things. And listen, I get it. Money makes you different. People can say that all they want to, but money does make people different, and it's just a fact. But I don't know. I just think that it's just basic manners, basic, human things. Just like Jeff said, there's so many different ways you could do it. When you're in the limelight, and all that kind of does sometimes do is just kind of maybe tell me he's not maybe used to being in the limelight, and he has to learn it a little better, which I don't know. I don't know what he does outside of wrestling and what he does, and with other things and this and that. So I could be way off base too, but I don't know. To me, it's just silly. It's really just be smarter, I guess. Instead of being rude, just say, like Jeff said, well, let's talk about that another time. No comment for that right now, but maybe I'll get back to you. I don't know, easy peasy, and you could have turned off a switch. But It happens. All right, Jeff, what's up next?
All right, next up, new stars are shining bright in some spots in WWE.
Yeah, it seems as if they are they're bringing up some people who were kind of they were down in NXT. They're bringing them up to the main roster, and it seems like they're starting to use people a little bit more than they were before. I know one of them is Shotzi Blackheart, getting a lot of TV time and stuff now. Kind of got centered right into a position where she's going to be probably going up against Sasha Banks. They turned her heel. Which is a little bit of a different thing for her character. You see Toni Storm on there. Of course, she came out and challenged Charlotte Flair. It looks as if they're moving people up the ladder. There's who is it? Xia Li, I think, still hasn't made an appearance yet, and she's due to come. Was it onto SmackDown? I believe. I mean, look, and that's. I guess this is what they have to do. If you're dwindling down the main roster, and you're getting rid of some other people, you have to bring the young people up. So it just kind of makes sense. Who I don't even know. I'm trying to think of the name. The name escapes me now. But I think that this is just a logical step. It seems like they're inserting more people into feuds where. Maybe they wouldn't have done this stuff in the past. They wouldn't have brought somebody new like Toni and just gave her, had her come out and issue a challenge to the top women's wrestler in their business. Will Rally Sports says, I'm glad Toni Storm got some TV time. She's great. Yeah, a lot of people have been kind of clamoring for her to get it. Aaliyah got some shot. Yeah, she did. It was a little odd, though. I read that she was not. She was in the supposed to be on the Survivor Series team, and then she got taken off. So I'm not really sure what's going on with that. But yeah, I mean, look, it's always good when you're getting new faces. It makes things interesting and different. It changes things around, and it makes it not be so stale. And you're getting some people who, again, were favorites down in NXT, and you're bringing them up to some of the main event scene, which is always a good thing. Big Dan mentioning Liv Morgan, she's the number one contender. Yeah, congrats to her. A lot of people love her, have loved her. Marley apparently loves her, have loved her for a while. But she is, a lot of people think she's deserving of a title shot. She's going to get it. Now, is she going to win? Who knows? But she's going to be included in the title picture. So, listen, if it looks as if they're listening to fans, I'm all for it. I guess it's a good thing. Von Wagner, aka Buffalo Bob, was on Friday. That's okay. That might have been the guy that I was thinking of. I saw this picture of a dude kind of standing on the left side of the screen when they were in the back. With that, I think it was when Adam Pearce was in the back. I saw a picture of that online, and I'm like, who the heck is that dude? So yeah, so Von Wagner's that. Yeah, it looks like they're going in a different direction. They're bringing some different people up, and I don't know, Jeff. I guess it's a good thing, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's always good when we get new people in a spot that they've never been in before. And the good thing about this is we're getting them in contrast with people we've seen a lot of. So it's a good opportunity to kind of do this changing of the guard thing, put some other people over in the meantime. So I really enjoy it. I love what they're doing with Toni. I like what they're doing with Aaliyah. She got that shine on Friday. Shotzi, I want to see Shotzi and Sasha Banks. Like, that's a match again that I didn't know I needed, but now I need to see it. Like, I absolutely have to have that match at some point. And then on Raw with Austin Theory. So, good kudos, good on them for doing this, because you need this. You actually need this.
Annual Survivor Series bait and switch. I wish they would have acknowledged Von Wagner from being from NXT 2.0 and not Who's That, like it's a show on USA Network, your partner. Sasha versus Shotzi is coming this Friday, isn't it?
I believe so.
You could be right. You could be right. So I love Shotzi Blackheart when she was in NXT. She deserves everything she gets. She's very active on social media. She does a lot of stuff outside of the business. She's done a lot of stuff with. Obviously, I'm a big horror fan, so that's cool with me too. But yeah, I hope she is in a main event. I hope she's involved with the main event sooner than later. So, so good deal. All right, what's next?
All right, so up next, we're talking about the Walking Weapon and why he's not in the title picture at Turning Point, or why he wasn't in the number one contenders match, and what his distraction, who his distraction may be.
I had to go back and watch it. I wasn't around for Impact on Thursday. I had to, when I came home that night, I watched the whole show. And I saw the promo with Josh and Scott D'Amore. I told Jeff my feelings on this. I kind of think that this may be developing into a Stone Cold Vince kind of a relationship. We'll see. I don't know if it's going to get that bad, but it kind of has a little bit of reminders of me with that. Scott seems to kind of be deflecting, but Scott did say, well, you're too focused on that man that's up in that picture there, Suzuki, and once you get past that and get that all out of your system, in essence, Scott said, then that will be the time that you will get your Impact title shot. Now, the thing that I was saying is I don't know whether or not that's going to be true. We'll have to watch with Scott D'Amore, because this could be one of those things where he could be just putting him off and kind of saying, yeah, we'll do it. Yeah, we'll do it. Yeah, we'll do it. And the thing you got to keep in the back of your mind is the reality of it all. And the reality of it all is that his contract is coming up. The end of February or the middle of whatever. It's in February next year. So that's the thing you kind of have to keep in mind. When Ethan Page was done with his, the story if you were watching Impact as to what happened with that and the whole Karate Man thing and everything like that. And then it came out that Ethan wasn't very happy that he did a lot of that stuff, or was told that he had to do that kind of stuff. So we'll see. But yeah, you always have to keep that in the back of your head, is the reality of it all. And so we'll see. I certainly hope, I know Jeff certainly hopes that he does get his shot. He definitely deserves it. That whole thing that happened with Moose, where he only held on to that title for a few minutes and then lost it in front of his wife and his son, is a thing that certainly would be big for him to get another shot at Moose or whoever has that title. So we'll see how that goes. But like I said, just keep an eye out on the antics of Scott D'Amore when it comes to Josh, especially after the pay-per-view and after he's done with Suzuki. So keep your eye on it, because it could become a volatile thing. We'll see. What do you think, Jeff?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's I think that's an interesting play at with Josh, saying he's distracted. I'm just happy we get this match this week between these two guys.
Oh yeah.
That'll be good, but we'll see. I mean, that's the thing with wrestling that a lot of us at some points fail to realize, is that it's a business. And while we may fantasy book and think things in our head, these companies know what the contracts are, and these performers know, when things are coming up and when they aren't. So this could be a matter of, maybe he just doesn't get the title again, which would be unfortunate. But I hope he does. I hope they get the contract sorted out, and I hope he's in Impact for a while. So,
yeah, I agree. And Conrad says, I just want to see this happen. Yeah, well, same here. And I think the same thing for Jeff. The match is going to be incredible. And however that turns out and who comes out of it, you would think that Josh will win it. We'll see. But yeah, I think when we'll all agree that the match is going to be tremendous. So let's take it one thing at a time, and we'll enjoy the matches as they come with us. All right, what's our next topic, Jeff?
All right, next to last topic. is there real life beef between Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch? Is that real or is it just a word?
Hard to say. It's been. I heard a lot about this actually on Busted Open. That there is that whole belt switch thing that did not go as planned, and it was all done, with the two women behind the scenes. And basically now there's a lot of talk going on between both of them. It's hard to tell though, because if they were gonna do this as a they're going to do this as a work, they would put time into it doing it on social media. So it could be a big fake that they're all doing it according to the angle, but I don't know. They're really kind of hitting each other personally, talking about how I guess Becky made a comment at Charlotte about how what was the word that she used? Oh my gosh! Basically, taking a shot at her at things that she did to enhance her body, and then Charlotte kind of took the same shot back at Becky, apparently during SmackDown. So, yeah, I don't know. If I had to lean one way or the other, I would say that it has gotten a little personal. Now, I listened to Mark Henry talk about it on Busted Open, and he answered the question. Somebody said, well, if it is personal, what does that mean to their upcoming match? And Mark was, I could speak from experience. He said that he's had that happen with some wrestlers in his career where they just didn't like one another. And he said the unfortunate part about that is, and Jeff could probably speak to it too, because I'm sure he's wrestled against people he didn't like. It happens. But Mark unfortunately said that that's a lot of times when mistakes happen. Because you don't like that other person, you don't tend to work well together. And things can happen that are unfortunate. You can have bad things happen, like accidents in the ring, or one person can get hurt, or so that's the kind of thing that he was talking about. And he was kind of saying, I hope that if they do have beef outside of the ring, that they squash it before that match happens, and they cooler heads prevail, and they, and hey, you don't have to like everybody you work with, but when you do this kind of work, it probably would be best if you can talk outside of the ring and say, listen, we don't have to like each other, but let's go out there and let's do what we're supposed to do, and let's just keep it all professional. But I imagine that's hard. And like I said, I'm not going to try to speak on it, but like I said, Jeff, I'm sure you probably can. There had to be times when you went into that ring and you didn't necessarily like the person you were in the ring with.
Oh yeah. A good handful of times. And that does make sense. I mean, a lot of times you are more apt to be. People would think you want to be more. You want to be more. Aggressive, but in all actuality, I found myself being more timid because I felt like I had to hold back because I might just actually punch this person in the face, and then a fight would break out right there, and that's not what we need to do in front of the fans. So I mean, yeah, it's interesting because when you start to pull back and you're cautious, that's when mistakes happen. That's when people get hurt, because you're trying to be overly cautious, and it just doesn't work out as well as you think it would. So I hope that this is a work. I hope that they're going to be able to, reconcile and get together over their differences. But who knows? But yeah, I mean that whole belt thing was a mess, and maybe it was made to look like a mess. I don't know. We don't know, but it makes for an interesting conversation. I'll say that.
Yep, it will get eyes on that match for sure. Italia Vidal says toxic creates cash. Remember Lita, Matt Hardy, Edge, and how that played out. Yeah,
Mhm.
it does. It does. So it could be. It could all be a work. Cook says there's personal stuff. It could be very toxic. Becky and Charlotte, from what Becky said, you can use the Stand By Me quote about busboys at a restaurant. Becky called her plastic in a 2019 promo, and Charlotte didn't like it. And Charlotte retaliated this past week, apparently. Yes. Yeah, very true. Edge was able to work with Matt Hardy in 2005, despite the lead situation hanging over their heads. According to backstage people, Charlotte is the villain in this situation. So, all right, moving on. I think we got one more topic.
One more, and this is a good one to end on. Ali's New America.
This is excellent. If you guys haven't seen this came down last night during the pay-per-view, during the AEW pay-per-view. He put this out on his Twitter, and hey, Tony, no worries. Listen, I like Ali's work. I always have. Everybody probably didn't get to see what the best angle he had going, which was that SmackDown hacker. Never materialized, which could have been his best character that he ever had. This promo that he did was phenomenal. I absolutely loved it. He is a poster, so he's kind of supposed to be this slimy politician type of guy, and I love that. I love the whole promo that he did, and I love the poster, the propaganda poster that he did. All this shows to me is that the dude can think of things to do, and then it just makes me wonder, why isn't he doing them? Because, again, this is just what puzzles me sometimes. When you have somebody who can when you have someone who can do this kind of thing and make your job easier for you, why not just let him do it? And, Ali was another one who got shoehorned into that crappy ass Retribution garbage, and they never knew what to do with him. They had him then he's going to be the leader, and then we're going to say that he was a SmackDown hacker, but then nothing ever came of that. This guy is talented. And this guy should be on the show weekly and not just be going out there and getting destroyed every week. He's a talented dude. He's a creative guy. And, this just proved that more to me. And he's going on his Twitter account, and he keeps on. He put the poster up again today. And he said, look, this is gaining steam. This is gaining traction. I just think he's a good talent, Jeff. And I just think he's one of those guys that I just think is being wasted, unfortunately. And I don't know. Maybe it's best he moves on for his own career and takes that talent somewhere else. Derek says he has beef with me. Why did you guys beat the Briggs? Listen. When you get your butt embarrassed the week prior, sometimes you come out and you embarrass somebody else the week after. Yeah, that feels weird. How dare WWE pull this? Anyway, yeah. But what did you think of this, Jeff? I shared it with Jeff last night too. So
yeah. No, I mean, this is great. This was fantastic, and had this been any time before now, this might be one of the hottest gimmicks out there in professional wrestling.
Yep.
People ask the question why WWE would pull this. Here's the deal when it comes to this kind of stuff. WWE has fans as the shareholders sometimes, and that fans equate to eyes, equate to ratings, and all that stuff. And with where our country is right now, people would take this out of context so ridiculously crazy. Like it would be. They would have to come out with a statement talking about how this is entertainment and these views. Like they'd have to put a disclaimer: the views expressed in this promo are not the views of WWE. I mean, they would have to do something crazy just because of where our society is right now. If you look like you're leaning a certain way, you get attacked by one side. If you look like you're leaning the other way, you get attacked by the other side. And then there's really no middle ground for people to enjoy things anymore. And I'm going to talk about this in a couple minutes. So, but there's really no middle ground. So when you have something like this, that's this dynamic and this extraordinary, and it really fits. Like, this is what we need right now. We need someone like this on our TVs. Yeah, I mean, that was a couple years ago, Zon, those Real Americans. That was a couple years ago. Since we've gotten into COVID times and all of that stuff, and the advent of all of the political garbage that goes on in our country right now, especially in the U.S., the country isn't ready for something like this, which is unfortunate. So I put a little bit of onus on this with on WWE with this, because they should have the guts to produce their show and product the way that they see fit. But I also know that with certain political affiliations, this might not look well to some of the people who support and back WWE. So I get it, but I'm not happy about it.
Yeah, very true. I guess and is the world ready for something like that? Yeah, probably not. Is the safe thing to say, and WWE has to be careful because like anybody else, they're a company, and companies got to be very, very wary of things where they can get sued and things like that. So yeah, it's a shame though. It's a shame that our society is like that. There's things that you just can't bring up in topics anywhere. I mean, I run a geek group on Facebook, which is all about like nerdy stuff, like superheroes and movies and that kind of thing. And I have to put a big disclaimer up on my group that says, listen, we will not have political talk in my group. And if you do, you're gone. Silly. It's a shame. It really is. The Ali promo gave me chill, says Derek. I hope the hell Vince runs with this Ali character change, but the Debbie Downer in me sees him mucking it up somehow. Real Americans work a couple years ago. Ricky Glow, what's up, Ricky? How are you? People got mad that Dante Martin on AEW had a BLM armband. It's just a bad, It's just a bad thing, I guess. All right, Jeff, I think we're at the favorite segment of the show for many, many people. And this week, Jeff will take the spotlight. So it is that time, Jeff. You want to play the intro?
All right, here we go.
The airing of grievances. I got a lot of problems with you people. Now you're going to hear about it.
All right, so Jeff is going to air some grievances, so we're going to get right into it. I'm going to bow out off the screen a little bit, just like Jeff was nice enough to do for me last week. So I will do the same. Jeff, all yours, man.
All right. Well, I'm going to try my best to not lose it because, I get passionate about things, and I try my best to keep my cool. I pride myself on being able to keep my cool. But what I've come to learn over the last several months, almost 2 years, in March of doing this show, is that for whatever reason, people just don't want you to have an opinion. When you have an opinion, if it doesn't align with theirs, then you automatically get attacked. And I spoke about this a few minutes ago, but this is a part of this whole culture of people just, I don't know what's happened. Everybody being so polarized and tribalized with everything. That's where we are as a society. So if we're like that as a society, we're going to be like that with the stuff that we partake in when it comes to entertainment, and wrestling is no different from that. I'll give you a story real quick. This morning, I posted something on my social media, and it was a quick little thing. It was a quick little thing when I posted it out there. I posted a GIF of something saying, "Great, it's the greatest thing since sliced bread," and I put an eye roll emoji. And I understand praising people and praising companies when they get it right, but I also believe in holding them accountable and wanting them to be even better than what they are. And that's where I find myself with AEW and Tony Khan. Um, so I posted that this morning, not because I don't enjoy or didn't enjoy the pay per view, but because of how some people act. Um, like I get it. It's great, awesome. Like I'm with you there, but I was mocking certain people who, and I'll get into this too, because there's a couple people on Twitter who just act like they're if AEW farted in the wind, they'd compliment them on the fragrance of it. So, like that's the kind of thing that kind of irritates me. So I just kind of took a little jab, and I was being funny about it, in my opinion. Well, almost immediately, I started getting DMs about how I'm an AEW hater, how I'm this, how I'm that. And, it's I'm not a hater. I'm just a realistic person, and I believe in being fair. I'm going to praise you when you do well, and I'm going to critique you when you need critique. And this goes for wrestling fans in general. This isn't an AEW WWE singular thing. This is wrestling fans in general. Whenever you begin to only think that your little bubble is the only thing that exists in the world, and when anybody comes in that has anything different to say about your little bubble, don't get into this mode where you have to automatically get defensive. Like, people can have opinions about what you enjoy. I saw a friend of mine, and I won't call the name out. I saw a friend of mine last night openly criticize the finish of and the result of the Eddie Kingston CM Punk match, and just get blasted on Twitter. Why? Because that person didn't just automatically say that CM Punk should have won. They had a difference of opinion. But because they had a difference of opinion, they got attacked. I've seen people that absolutely hated the stuff on Friday night with Roman and Woods. And, one person loved it. But because they loved it, everybody was like, how can you love that? It's the same thing that we've seen over and over and over again. But it's like, at some point, either you got to have a little bit thicker skin and realize that even though you love your bubble is great. Nothing can touch your bubble. You can praise that bubble. People outside of that bubble and people that look at things a different way than you look at them are going to have differences of opinion. And just because a person has a difference of opinion doesn't make them wrong, doesn't make them right, doesn't make them a piece of trash, and doesn't make them a racial slur. What it makes them is a human being with a difference of opinion. That's that's what it is. And that's where I'm at. Like, honestly, I got to the point because of comments, because of certain things, that I just stopped liking wrestling. I'm gonna be honest with you. I just stopped liking wrestling. There were a couple weeks where I avoided wrestling like the plague. Why? Because I had to take a break mentally and emotionally from social media because of jerks on the internet with Twitter fingers want to have something to say about my opinion. Like, you get the same amount of characters that I do. You voice your opinion. Why can't I voice mine? Oh, that's right, because it differs from yours. And the last thing that I'll say about all this, because I'm done. I'm done after this. Like, I had said to someone earlier today that I was not going to offer critique on certain companies anymore on Twitter because I just wasn't going to. And you know what? I lied. I've come to that realization. I've lied. I'm going to voice my opinion, whether people like it or not. I'm going to say what it is that I want to say, whether people like it or not. I'm ashamed of myself for taking my post down this morning because I deleted it. I should have just exposed the people who hopped in my DMs. I'm always leery of doing that because I don't want people attacking other people that attack me, because that doesn't mesh well. That doesn't solve the problem. So I'm never one to call out anybody publicly when I can handle it privately. But I'm not going to hold back. So WWE fans, if you're listening, AEW fans, if you're listening, Impact fans, are you listening? Because if you are, here's what I'm going to say to you, and then I'm done. If the company that you support does something great, I'm going to praise them. And if they do something stupid, if they say something stupid, if they're not respectful of the business, I am going to call it out. And I'm not going to shy away from saying what it is that I want to say because somebody in some other place in the country or in the world has a problem with somebody else telling them that maybe their little bubble isn't perfect. Get over it. Get over yourself. Realize that the internet is the internet. And I promise you, if we were face to face, the conversation wouldn't go the way that you think. Because I'm going to quote a song that I really love and enjoy. It's called Try Jesus. Don't try me, because I fight. And I'm done, Joe.
All right. Very good, Jeff. I'm not even going to try to follow anything up because Jeff essentially just, laid it all out there. I'm going to just say two quick things. One, we're a little bit different than a lot of other people that are out there. We've always said that. And I'll always hold claim to that. You can fight me on it, and I'll fight you right back. We're a little bit different in the fact that we state our own opinions. And we take a chance and state them whether or not we think it's going to be the popular opinion. You're not going to see that in a lot of content creators. You're just not. Because a lot of people that are out there that are doing this kind of thing are doing it for one reason. One reason. And I can honestly say that the both of us in these 2 years have not done it for that reason. I'm proud of it. I'll stand by it. And I'll always back that opinion, and I'll always back and whatever Jeff just said is very, very true. I'm a lot less tolerant. Jeff is very, very, very tolerant. He's a very patient person. That's just who Jeff is. I'm not. If you, and I'm sure there are people out there that may still watch our show that probably damn well know that I am not, because I have no qualms about blocking you. If you piss me off, there's a block button for it, and you're gone. You're gone, and that's it. But yes, Conrad, clout and money. I couldn't give one damn less about money. I have a job. I realize that job is what makes me my money and my living. And I've fought for that kind of stuff all of my life, and I'm proud of it. So this is not a job for me. And that is not why we do what we do. So we are different from many providers, from many other creators that may be like that. So that's it. Great stuff, Jeff.
All right, well let's ring the bell.
Ding, ding.
And Joe,
It's very apropos since I saw the Rocky IV thing on Thursday. Which, by the way, if you guys haven't seen it, I think it's on Amazon now. You have to pay for it, but I'll tell you what, if you're a Rocky fan, watch it. Really, really good. Sylvester Stallone did a complete director's cut of Rocky IV. Well, I had no idea how much of it was going to change. Very, very different. But I love what he did. He put a lot of deleted scenes, a lot of dialogue and stuff like that wasn't in the original. And oh my God, Jeff, Apollo Creed's funeral got put into the devastating. Absolutely devastating. It was great. It was absolutely great. Absolutely great. And I absolutely loved it. So, all right, Jeff, we are doing sell or no sell, correct?
Thank you, C. He says, "You going to refund?" Only joking. Thank you, sir.
There's always one in a crowd. There's always one in the crowd. Listen, the people who we associate with for reasons. And, so just getting it out there in case some of you are new to the channel and you don't all know our friends and who our friends are and friends of the channel are. We associate with certain people because they have similar ideas or ideals in this case. So, obviously we have other creators that come in our chats at See Wrestling. We have Pazzy, of course. We have Everything Pro Wrestling, Conrad, of course. We have Marie Shadows. Those are people who we feel similarly about. So, yes. But, yeah, funny stuff, see. All right. Go ahead, Jeff. Sorry.
All right. So, sell or no sell? W. Morrissey as the comeback wrestler of the year.
Wow. I guess we better kind of start thinking about wrestlers of the year and all that kind of stuff. We're getting close to the end here.
Yeah.
It's hard to believe it's going to be. We're halfway through November. We're going to be getting to that time soon. We got to start thinking of that. Wow. Man, the comeback of the year. You really have to go through and start thinking of like a lot of who has been out for a while that made comebacks. I'm not going to count guys like Cena or anybody like that who are part-time wrestlers. You know what? Why not? I'll sell it. Why not? I'll sell it. I love it. I love it. I'll sell it. Why not? Listen. This dude, I'm glad he stayed with Impact. I mean, obviously, his contract was supposed to be up in October, and he was saying how he may not be around. I mean, obviously, he's staying. He's flourishing there. He's doing really well. The dude is listen, this guy is a force in the ring. I saw that match on this past Thursday, dominant. And I mean, he has Josh Alexander's wife talking basically about him on their Twitter, saying like, "Did you guys see this? Double slams at the same." I mean, this guy is a force, and it is damn creepy how much he looks like Edge. Damn creepy. But yeah, why not? I mean, here's another guy who was counted out. Counted out. He had that gimmick where he basically was just kind of in the ring with the mouthpiece, who was Enzo. And he just kind of went in and did his thing and really just walked out, and that was it. You really didn't hear much about him. This dude is a dominant force in Impact right now, and we'll see where they go with him. Listen, he should be into some sort of, if it ends up him and Moose, it's going to be a JR slobber knocker. So I like the dude. Yeah, why not? I'll sell it. He's had a tremendous year. He's absolutely had a tremendous year.
Yeah. For me, when thinking about this question, and we actually talked about this Thursday night.
Okay.
So we talked about this a little bit Thursday night, and one of the things you have to ask yourself, the question is, what are they coming back from? CM Punk, I know a lot of people bring up CM Punk. CM Punk was out for 7 years, and really it was, how he was screwed over where he was previously. And, was it a big deal? Absolutely. Absolutely. Somebody actually said that, Tony, on Thursday night, that Joe would pop for the Kiss Demon.
That was a great moment, but come on. I mean, you have to put body of work into this too. He showed up in one thing. He was in there for a little while. It was a very cool moment. We saw him again. Yes, cool moment, but I'm not going to turn around and say he's the comeback guy, comeback wrestler of the year. I mean, it was, I loved it, but yeah, I'm not going there.
Yeah, I mean, and when you look at this, people thought Morrissey's career was finished. Like they thought his career was dead, and just done. And this guy came back from that. I know people can say Becky Lynch, people can say Zelina Vega. Listen, all good choices. There's no right or wrong answer here. But for me, W. Morrissey, from what he came back from and overcame, I'm going to sell it, because I think that certain stories are just bigger. There's no story bigger than CM Punk returning to wrestling after 7 years. But if you dig down and peel back the layers of the onion, I think from an industry standpoint, behind the curtains, seeing where people thought Morrissey's career was, I honestly don't think anyone would have seen his kind of rise in Impact. I mean, he's one of their top players. And Zelina Vega, Liv Morgan, Becky Lynch, CM Punk. I'm trying to think of other people. You could even throw in Bryan Danielson, since he was gone for a while. Brock Lesnar. There are a lot of names that you could throw around, but just for me and where I am, I think Morrissey, Morrissey is just tremendous. What he's done is tremendous.
Yeah, and a lot of those people, a lot of the people that you named, I don't know. See, when I look at comeback, like a comeback player of the year, like let's say it's sports, those guys have had to have had something traumatic in most cases happen to them, where they were either out with a tremendous injury and they came back and they were amazing right off the bat, or see, I would eliminate certain people just because of that in my mind. Becky, I get it. She had a baby. It's been done before. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know that I'd say she was a comeback. She just took some time off to have a child. I don't think that was a big comeback. Brock was gone because of COVID. Chose kind of to stay away. I don't know. Like I wouldn't count that in my opinion, but that's just the way my mind works with it. When I think of comeback, I think of a guy when they have comeback player of the year in baseball or comeback player of the year in pro football or in hockey, whatever the case might be. Most of the time, that person is a guy who was, got a devastating injury, missed like how Bailey's out now. Like how Bailey had a devastating ACL injury. She's been out for a while. That to me would be a comeback. So in that respect, and yes, while we're still talking about the Kiss team, it was definitely a comeback because he's been gone since the 90s. But
True.
We don't really know what that's going to lead to or where he was. He could have been on the Indies doing stuff. We don't really know. But I don't know. I guess that's how I'm thinking about it anyway. But there you go. Well, we both sold it. So, that was a fun one. Yeah, yeah, man, it's almost going to be awards time. We're going to have to start doing a lot of thinking about that stuff.
Yeah.
All right. What's next?
All right, man. Now it's time we talk about some Cowboy-ish. Hangman Adam Page is the next big star in wrestling. Sell or no sell?
Well, he's certainly a big star right now in AEW. He's at the top of the chain. He's got a huge fan base. Listen, this gimmick that he has is definitely going to be something that's going to generate fans. Whether or not it's AEW fans. The big thing you want to think of is when you're thinking of this question, the key here is in wrestling. So it's not just in AEW. So I guess you kind of think about it in your mind as, is he going to now they just had a champion who was internationally known as one of the best pro wrestlers in the business everywhere. It's hard shoes to fill. So can he be that? Well, maybe not yet, but can he be a representative of his company to be the guy who goes around and does these guys do, like interviews, they go on TV shows, they go, all that kind of stuff. Can he be that type of guy? Sure. Why not? This type of gimmick, this cowboy shit gimmick, this country and Western kind of a guy gimmick. There's a lot of fans of this kind of thing in the United States. I happen to not be a particular fan of country and Western music and stuff like that. I never have been really, but it's out there, and it's even in there with young kids. My daughter listens to country and Western, and she likes it, and she's only 17, so it's out there. Is he the next big star? Yeah, I would say so. I'll sell it. Why not? Why not? And the buildup that he just had into winning his title that he did, I would think so. I mean, look, and again, there's a timeline, and I see Big Dan's comment. Guys like that, Parker Bordeaux isn't even really, I mean, we're talking kind of more next big thing. What I took that to mean by what Jeff wrote there is that, in the present, not necessarily looking years down the road. So in the present, yes, I'm gonna sell it. Go ahead, Jeff. What about you?
I'm right there with you. Hopefully can you guys hear the sound effects?
I did, yeah.
Okay, good. Okay. I think he's the next big star. All because of this very reason. He's relatable. Like, most wrestlers feel out of touch, where you couldn't go sit at a bar or sit in a restaurant with them and just kind of shoot the crap, Adam Page feels like you can go have a conversation with him and, you're not going to get pro wrestling to death. Some people may know what I mean by that, where you get gimmick all day long. I feel like he's a genuine guy. So I feel like because he's relatable, that's why so many people love him. Then you add in what they've done, and again, this goes to show that I'm not a hater, folks. Tony Khan said in the post pay-per-view presser that when they started this, he knew who his first 4 champions were. Now, someone pointed out on Twitter earlier that Omega had a header, the same header for All Out since they started. It was Chris Jericho, John Moxley, Kenny Omega, and Hangman Adam Page, in that order. And what are those 4 guys? Their first 4 AEW champions. So this has been the plan for a while. And this is one of the things where you have to give kudos, because there's a plan. There's actually a plan in place with a lot of this stuff. Some stuff needs a little bit of work, in my humble opinion, but this is great. And because of how they've built this particular wrestler and this star, the people have gotten behind him. He's over. So I think he's the next big star. I really do. I think it was just a matter of time, and now it's his time.
Now we got to figure out who they're going to build up to come and get him, which is going to be very interesting. So, I mean, if it is Daniel, I don't agree with you, Big Dan. I don't. If it's going to be Daniel and him, that has to be, in my opinion, Daniel has to put him over. Has to be. And at this point in Daniel's career, it doesn't serve him at all to win the AEW title. It just doesn't. So at that point, I think he has to put him over if that's where they're going to go. All right. What's up next? What is the next topic?
Oh, gosh. This is fun. This is going to be fun. Wrestling journalism has improved wrestling for today's wrestling fan. This is going to be a fun topic. I can go ahead and tell you.
Oh boy. Yeah. The fact that we're even using the word journalism in this topic is just, that is going a mile too far maybe already. Straight flat out no sell. No sell. I come from an era of you getting your wrestling news from wrestling magazines. Pro Wrestling Insider, several other ones that used to come out on newsstands every week that I couldn't wait to go to my local, magazine shop and buy them or bookstore and get them, because it was the only way I could get it. And a lot of times, you're not getting up to the minute news because we didn't have that ability. You were getting news about matches that took place a month and a half ago because that's what they reported on in the magazine, and then it would come out that month. But look, we're in a generation where journalism is considered to be it's not journalism. It's who can get, and there's a reason they call them dirt sheets. It's who can get the dirt. It's who can get the stuff behind the scenes. Who can be the first one to get someone in a position where you can learn things from? Did you ever imagine? It's almost kind of a funny story, but did you ever imagine these little tiny meetings with guys like we see up there on the screen, or people that work for him? Because I'm sure he isn't doing it, but the guys that work for him that are the moles that that have to go and meet up. Do you ever imagine that? Like, I think about these crazy things in my head. Like, you have this little scene in a dark alley, right? Just picture this. it's outside of like an office somewhere. Let's just picture it's the offices of WWE, right? So Stamford, Connecticut, wherever it may be, there's this little dark alley, right? That's next to it, and you have this meeting. You have this guy and he's wearing a derby, like an old style hat. He's wearing a trench coat, right? And he makes his way out of the building, and then he goes into that little alley, right? And he stands over in one section behind the dumpster, and then there's another person that's on the other side of the dumpster, and they can never see each other. They can never see each other. They can never, because if one of them sees the other, then that person has to be killed. That's how serious this is. And basically that person then just will stand there with their phone, and then they will just they will have their number, right? Which is a secret number. It's a burner phone, by the way. They throw the phone away when they're done because, they can't be caught. So they send them a text and they tell them, hey, by the way, so Roman Reigns is, he's going to beat Brock Lesnar tonight. And, and Vince is setting this all up, and they give them all this wonderful information, and then it gets back to the other people, and then finally it gets back to the journalist, and then the journalist types it all up, and they put it out there, and that's where it all comes from. These secret little meetings, right? So that's what we've come to. It's fact finding at its best, and but this is what it's come down to. We do not have journalism anymore. We don't have where people work to do this. We don't have. They're either speculating completely, they're making it up 100%, or they're hearing something via someone who said someone to something else, and it goes 75 different ways, and it becomes blown completely out of proportion. So absolutely not. It has not improved it. And in fact, I said this earlier today to Jeff. You want to talk about toxicity on Twitter? You want to talk about why there's toxicity in the wrestling communities? You have no further place to look than dirt sheets. No further place to look. These are the guys who will do anything for a buck and clout. They're the ones that want the money. They will throw anything out there to mislead you, and they don't give a damn about you. They want your money, and it doesn't matter at all what they put out there. So absolutely not. No way has it improved it. I'll go back. Jeff, I'll go back to the magazines. I will gladly go back to the bookstore and to magazines if we had to.
Yep. Well, I'm gonna no sell. That was easy. And I'm gonna take what you said. I don't want to, repeat anything that you said. But I'll even go a step further. I honestly believe if fans didn't know as much about the behind the scenes stuff of wrestling as they do today, we wouldn't have a lot of the issues that we have. And a lot of that comes from wrestling journalists talking about selling and promos and spots and this and that. And then what ends up happening is fans end up repeating spots and promos and botch and buried and work rate and 50-50 booking and this and that. You know what? Just enjoy the show. Just enjoy the show. I didn't know back in the day when Junkyard Dog's contract was coming up. I didn't know. I didn't know when Ric Flair's contract was coming up. I didn't know. You know what? I just watched wrestling and I enjoyed the heck out of it. But nowadays, so-and-so it was spotted putting this on their Twitter, so this must mean that they're secretly wanting to go to this company, or this person didn't eat the bologna sandwich in catering. It must mean that they're not very happy today, so they're probably going to go to a different company after this, or so-and-so. There's so many examples, and obviously I'm being facetious and funny, but it comes down to there's too much bias for one, because when I can look at a wrestling journalist Twitter feed or social media feed and I see them, popping and fanboying out for something on a show, and they've got like front row seats that aren't in the press pool, and it's just them hanging out with their friends, having a good old time, singing along with the entrance music and stuff like that. That's not being a journalist. And this comes from someone who has a journalism background, just like Joe. When we went through journalism classes, it was about providing the information in a non-biased way. You present the news. You present the facts of the story. That's what it is. It's not about, oh, well, this is just fantastic. This is just, just the greatest thing ever. Yeah, I mean, there's no way it's made it better. I will say that I don't want to paint this with a broad brush. There are some good wrestling journalists out there, but the bad ones and the ones that do this for the wrong reasons, they do it to put things behind paywalls and they do it to make a little bit of money, and if that's your only job, then you know what, make your money, but do it in a way that's less slime ballish. That's the only thing. Like, just don't be a slime ball about it. But yeah, I mean, I don't think this has helped anybody at all. So yeah.
Imagine where we would be. Some of you guys are talking about the Hogan heel turn and all that kind of stuff. Imagine how much different that stuff would have been if we had all this. Everything would have been spoiled. Everything would have been spoiled. The magic in some of those moments when you had that stuff growing up, you would have known what everything was. You would have known how it was going to happen, when it was going to happen. Oh, Hulk Hogan showed up backstage tonight at WCW, and not really sure, but he's hanging around with Scott Hall and Kevin Nash. So we don't really. It really takes the fun out of it.
Mm-hmm.
It really does. It really does. And like what Jeff was saying about journalism, if you were ever in school for journalism or anything like that, the professors and stuff like that would teach you to do exactly the opposite of what these guys are doing. You fact find. You report facts. You don't report hearsay, gossip, or garbage. If you wanted to do that back then, you wrote for a magazine called the Star Paper or the National Enquirer. You get a job doing that, because that's what those things were. And that's where the name dirt sheets come from. Those were rags. They called them rags. And that was a precursor to a dirt sheet. Mm-hmm. You know those things you go to a grocery store and you see them up at the cash aisle and they say, UFO brings Easter Bunny and drops and Santa Claus to Earth. Yeah. Yep. So, hey, Tazzy, what's going on? Good stuff. Oh, man. All right. I think that's it for our debate segment.
That's it. We'll briefly run through what to watch for.
Yes.
We got quick things we got to go through here. One being Turning Point, which is on Saturday, which, one of the first of two watch-alongs on this channel next weekend.
Yeah, busy weekend next week. We're at that point again where we had big pay-per-view last night and then two big pay-per-views coming up next weekend. They all seem to be clumped together. But Turning Point for Impact. So Impact people in the chat, what are you excited for? What are you excited for about Turning Point? There are a good amount of matches on this. And a good amount of this is one of their Saturday pay-per-views, so not necessarily one of their biggest ones of the year, but it looks like they want to end the year with a bang. And there are a lot of good matchups on this show, and I'm really looking forward to it. I want to see what they're going to do with Decay and the rematch that they're going to have with the inspiration. I want to see how that's going to play out, because I think there might be something weird that might happen there, especially with the involvement of the undead brides. I want to see what's going to happen with with Josh Alexander. I want to see what's going to happen with Moose and Eddie Edwards with that title. There's a lot of interesting things going on here. So Eddie and Moose, says Misty. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Listen, a lot of people are fans of Eddie Edwards. So could Eddie win that title? You never know. You never know. But what are you most looking forward to? Let us know in the chat. Jeff, what's your biggest looking forward to this far out about Turning Point?
I gotta be honest, man. It's Mercedes Martinez and Mickie James. That's the one. And then James Grant just pointed it out. Good Brothers in the Bullet Club. There's a lot going on right now within the club with different portions of the club. If you want to mention the Elite, that looked interesting last night. How does that factor into the Good Brothers? So there's a lot of good stuff, man. A lot of good stuff.
There is. Don't forget to tune in to Turning Point. Our watch along will be Saturday night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Don't forget to come out and join us. If you are new or haven't watched Impact in a while, come out and check it out. You won't be disappointed. It's a good show. We like to say a lot of it is very drama-free. So if you kind of want to get away from the drama sometimes and you want to just go watch something else where you won't get a lot of that, come and check out Impact. And no better way to start than with that. Now, make sure, in order to watch along with us, you do have to have the Impact Plus app to do so. So make sure you get that. Or is it Fight TV?
No, or if you have their $4.99 membership
on YouTube,
you can watch it on their YouTube. So
yeah, that they stole their name from. Yeah. I watched it on Access TV for the first time in forever, because usually I'm doing the streams, and of course they're on there, they're on the mic, and they must have mentioned it at least 6 times. Yeah, get our insiders. Every single time, I'm like, I got a little more mad every single time I heard that on the show. I'm like, oh my god. But yes. So if you get the YouTube membership, you can watch it on there too. Yep. All right. I think there might be another big pay-per-view on Sunday.
There's a little thing called Survivor Series that WWE puts on. That's this Sunday. So it looks interesting, Joe. It's we've had a lot of shuffles with some teams, so this looks interesting.
They're doing the traditional champion versus champion stuff too, which is always kind of cool. This pay-per-view was always kind of a cool one, because you got, of course the titles aren't on the line, but you almost got, it's almost kind of like an all-star game in baseball, where you see, your favorite players from the National League play your favorite players from the American League, or the basketball, your football. The Pro Bowl is horrible. But, either of those two, you get to see people compete that you normally wouldn't. So, you're going to get a match between Big E and Roman Reigns. You're going to get a match, which we already talked about earlier, between Charlotte and Becky. Champions from 2 different shows, so that are going to be going at it here. So what are you guys, again, tell us in the chat, what are you guys most looking forward to here? What is your go-to match? Is it going to be the teams, the Survivor Series teams? Is it going to be Roman versus Big E? Is it going to be Charlotte versus Becky? What are you most looking forward to at Survivor Series? And who knows? Do we get any surprises? Anybody going to show up there that we're not really expecting? I don't know. After all the smoke that's out there, I think I might have to go with the women's match, with the Becky versus Charlotte thing, because it's going to be interesting to see how that one plays out, and see where all that smoke is going to lead to fire. So we shall see. But yeah, let us know what's your event that you're looking forward to on Survivor Series. What about you, Jeff?
Because I'm petty, I'm looking forward to the Becky and Charlotte match. I just want to see what happens there. Jeff Samuel saying possible Oscar return. That'd be cool. I wouldn't mind that at all. But yeah, honestly, I love the traditional team matches. Like, it always takes me back to when this thing was, first started, and how we got the Undertaker, I mean, we got the Undertaker in one of those matches, so it always holds a special place in my heart. But yeah, because I'm petty and because I like watching Karen videos and beef videos, I want to see it play out in real time. So
Nice. Very, very nice. Yes. Not interested. Lack of build for the show. Derek, hey, dude, that's perfectly fine.
each his own. Yep.
Yeah, it's perfectly fine, man. Whatever you enjoy it, dude. With all the drama, Becky versus Charlotte, I just want to see what happens. Only match I'm looking forward to is Team Raw versus Team SmackDown. TurboCast, what's going on, TurboCast? How are you doing? Hope you are well. It's been a while. What you're saying, The Undertaker returns. I'm not saying anything of the sort. You're not hearing dirt from me. No, sirree. I'm sure there'll be enough of that out there. The double turn of demolition and the powers of pain. Oh my God, Dan, you're really going back there. Turning Point is a Saturday and Survivor Series on Sunday. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
You are correct. You are correct. 2 pay-per-views this coming weekend. And obviously that means we, where we're sitting right now, won't be, well, we'll be sitting here, but we won't be doing this. So if you like this weekly wrestling wrap-up show, we can't do that next week because we got 2 pay-per-views to do. So, all right, there you go. What have we got up next?
All right. Well, it's time for us, Joe, to book a wrestler.
It's book a wrestler time. Play along in the chat. Tell us what you would do if you were one of the higher ups in a wrestling company or on a creative team and you had the ability to book a particular wrestler. Who is our wrestler tonight? Oh, look at that.
Nia Jax, which you know what? I got to be honest with you. She's an interesting pick because people are so polarized on her. So I think it's a very interesting conversation. I'm curious to see what the chat says about how they would book Nia.
Yeah, let us know in the chat how you would book Nia Jax. Of course, Nia, one of the recent releases. You know the story. We talked about it as to what happened to her, and you know what you've seen from her and things like that. So, Jeff, why don't you start us out? How would you book Nia Jax?
I would book her as a strong, dominant force in my women's division. I would love to see her show up in Impact Wrestling. I don't think you need to necessarily have her in a title picture, but with how Impact does everything, I'd love to see her in that digital media championship picture. Something like that, because we all know that she also does some modeling and stuff like that on the side. So it would really make a lot of sense in a lot of different lanes. Oh my God, Sean Rousseau, you stole it. Savannah Evans versus Nia Jax. I mean, I'm down for that. But the other thing that I would do with her is, yes, you guys keep those coming. Nia Jax versus Jessica Havoc.
Jordan Grace.
Jordan Grace, exactly. But what the other thing that I would do with her is I would have her basically have like a split personality, Joe. So backstage, she's nice to her, to the people that are on the roster with her. She's nice. She's, very complimentary in interviews and promos, always saying nice things. And as soon as she gets down to the ring, steps in between the ropes, she's trying to crush you. That's what I really want to see with someone booking her. But honestly, she could go there. Her and Nyla Rose in AEW would be cool to see. But yeah, I mean, there again, Tony just brought up a good point. There are some people I would sign before her, but I would still want her on my roster. So that's how I would book her.
You brought up a very good point. And it's funny because I'm looking at your picture up on here and you see like the middle picture of her and then you see the picture of her on the right.
Mm-hmm.
There is if you're into comic books, there's a villain in the Daredevil series. She was actually in the Netflix series too. Her character's name is Typhoid Mary. Typhoid Mary is she's a schizophrenic. She has multiple personalities. Now we've seen this done. I get it. That's kind of what Alexa Bliss is doing. Of course, what Bray did, and other people are playing along with this. But her character was always a little different because the split between them, yes, she had a good side, she had an evil side. So that's why I'm kind of looking at that picture and I'm getting ideas because the one in the middle obviously would be the good side. The one on the right is the more evil side. And the reason she even reminded me of her there is because Typhoid Mary's hair, when she's in her normal side, she's got nice straight hair, and then when she's got this freaky, this permed hair and she wears face paint, makeup, like with kind of a crack down both sides of her face. If you have read comics and or watched the Daredevil series, I can certainly see her doing something like that. If she would go to Impact Wrestling or something along those lines, they'd let her toy with that for sure. And I could certainly see her doing that. I think she'd be very good at it. I think one time she could be, she'd be in the back. She'd be all nice to everybody. Oh, hey, I'm the new person. I'm going to, how are you? Blah, 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 blah. And then the next thing you know, she's completely different. So I could definitely see that. I think that would be a cool way for her to go. Everything you said about the wrestlers and everything that you talked about that you think would be a great matchup for her. I have nothing. Yeah, absolutely agree with you. I would love to see her in Impact. I think Impact would let her cut loose a little bit too and kind of do whatever she wants to do. But hey, if they do decide to take her into Impact, into the women's division, yeah, there are plenty of matchups that she can have there as well. Nyla Rose being one. But yeah, that's how I would see her. And you don't have to have huge promos or something like that. I mean, if Taya Valkyrie goes back there, or hey, if you're thinking of another promotion for her, maybe AAA. Maybe AAA wouldn't be a bad place for her to go as well. Taya Valkyrie made a killing in AAA. Taya was in AAA for a good while, and she really built herself up there. So maybe she goes to a place like AAA and goes in there and just kind of dominates in AAA. But that's kind of how I would like to see her done. I think she did what creative had her do, and let's always remember that. She was essential really through COVID. And I said this about her last week. She got a lot of people through COVID, and she was there week after week after week. And yes, are people going to say, well, yeah, she did a lot of these silly things where she was falling off the ring and blah, blah, blah. Guys, you really think that she wrote that for herself? Yeah. So she did it. She did what she was told. And did people laugh when she went? What was that thing that's when she fell in her butt and she said, my hole, right? Remember my hole, that whole thing that was going around and people were talking about that for weeks and weeks and weeks. Yeah. So she obviously has the talent to do things like that, humor and stuff. I just think I would like to personally see her as a, kind of almost like an enigma type of character. So that's how I would do it. That's how I would do it. So, yeah. SC Williams says Nia in Contra with Jacob Fatu, her cousin.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Why not? Absolutely. Big Dan, that would be brilliant. What did Big Dan say? I think I might have missed it. I heard of Vince go around his Three Stooges, rehire her and put her in the bloodline. Make them even more dangerous. I get the feeling she's going to go back to WWE like Zelina did, like they're doing with Damian Priest, Nia Jackson MLW with Enzo, Nia Jackson Contra, Valet with Jacob Fatu, Nia Jax versus Prime Awesome Kong. Yeah, that would have been a good matchup. Bull Nakano or Asia Kong would have been great. Impact needs Taya. It was such a big loss. She may end up heading back there. We'll see. Nia versus Britt Baker. Unfortunately, my dream booking of her Swiping right on my Tinder profile won't materialize, so the WWE return pitch I proposed is the next big thing. I'd like to watch Nia kick Britt's butt. MLW needs one. Yeah, that's out there too. Absolutely.
What about her Holiday in MLW?
Ooh, that would be cool. Yeah, that would be cool. Absolutely, that would be cool. Yeah. Nia Jackson, AAA. I like that. I get where you are going with this. Yeah, well, so there you go. So that is our Book a Wrestler segment for this week. If there's anybody who would ever like to have us do the segment on, let us know. You can put the comment in the comments on this YouTube stream or DM us, whatever. If there's anybody in particular you would like to see us do Book a Wrestler on. All right.
All right. Well, now it's time to discuss our favorite moments of the week, Joe.
And again, the chat can play along. What were your favorite moments of this past week in wrestling? I have a funny feeling I know a lot of people's number one is going to be. So it's been a really weird week for me. So because I didn't watch an awful lot of shows, I had to watch Impact on the fly when I came back really late at night. I didn't get to watch much. My work schedule's getting crazy because it's getting close to Black Friday, and retail and Black Friday is insane. So I'm just going to kind of play this a little bit by ear and see how it goes. But Jeff, what's your number three?
All right, man. My number three moment of the week is going to go to, well, it's really a tie, but not really. It involves the same person. Rocky Romero's matches with Rohit and Bryan Danielson last week. Really good matches. Rocky can work his behind off. So yeah, that was my number three. I thought he did a tremendous job. One night he's on one show, and then the next night he's on the other. So good stuff. Good stuff. Obviously, we know Impact is tape, but good stuff.
Yeah. Rocky Romero has really been all over the place. So yeah, that's a good call, and it's cool to kind of see him out there and see him working with some of these other promotions and things like that too. So yeah, absolutely. All right. Derek. Hangman wins number one. Number two, not watching Raw. Number three, not watching SmackDown. Oh, number three team and Dan Lambert and Sky and Ethan versus Inner Circle. All right. Wow. Because like I said, this is tough to do when you don't watch a lot of shows. My number three that I'm going to go with. I'm going to go with the continuing story on Impact of Decay, the Undead Bride, shocker, right? The Undead Brides, and of course the women's tag team champions. So the inspiration. I like how they could. Of course, they come out, they watch the match, they're kind of sitting on the chairs. Kind of trying to make it look like they're not really intimidated by the whole supernatural thing anymore. They're just kind of sitting there chilling. You know, they're like, yeah, okay, yeah, it's kind of cool. Yeah, all right, you know, kind of trying to be all cool and everything like that. That was really a squash match, which kind of surprised me. Like Decay got a big, I mean, that was a huge squash match for Decay. But all this is leading to somewhere. All this could be leading to the return of the one they call Mother. And if Mother shows up, all hell might break loose.
Yeah.
So I'm liking it. I really, it's funny because you don't know how some of these teams that were never booked that way. So the Iconics were never booked that way at all in WWE. So you kind of wonder how they would work with things like that, with, you know, how they're going to work with a supernatural thing. They were never booked in anything like that. Well, it's obviously you could see how they are working with them. And so I'm excited. The rematch between those two teams, we'll see where it goes. But maybe someone comes out and maybe costs them those titles. So it's going to be interesting to see. And I'm looking forward to that match on Saturday. So that's my number three. What's your number two, Jeff?
All right, man. My number two of the week is going to go to The talent on WWE that don't typically get shots or just got called up, getting opportunities. So Tony Storm, Liv Morgan being number one contender, Austin Theory and what they're doing with him. I really love what they're doing with Damian Priest. I want to see him eventually be a WWE or Universal Champion at some point in his career. But yeah, I love what they're doing. Shotzi, Aaliyah, good stuff. Good stuff. So that's my number 2.
Okay. Yeah. Derek's, let me see. What is everybody saying? God, Swinger confronts the Kiss team and got to be number 3. Did that actually happen? Because if that happened, I didn't even see that. Did that happen on Impact?
That was that week before where they were kind of.
I was going to say that was the prior week.
Yeah.
Okay. I was going to say, yeah, Steve Williams, I was thinking that happened again, and I just missed it because, I know I was tired when I watched it, but I'm pretty sure I would have noticed that. Big Dan says, Liv becoming number 1 contender because of the joy it brought my mate C Wrestling. 2, Becky's outfit. 3, Corey Graves and Brian Saxton trading the 24/7 title. Mercedes Martinez heel turn was surprising. Joe and Mickey James, I like that. CM Punk match. Jay Lethal's debut. Hangman winning the world title. Hangman winning SmackDown Crown King Roman. Martin and Rush match. As long as you didn't watch WWE, it's a good week. Luchasaurus doing a shooting star press move last night at Full Gear. LA Park's brawl with Cain Velasquez at the AAA press conference this past week for the upcoming December 4th show. Staying with that theme of AAA, I'm going to go with my number 2. And my number 2 is Bronson Reed. Showing up to confront Moose at AAA. Again, whenever you get kind of a surprise and nobody saw that coming, and sometimes it'll get overshadowed by the other big pay-per-view that was out there, and fair enough, it should. But that's sometimes when you might see some surprises show up at another show like that to kind of fly under the radar. And the fact that, listen, I liked Bronson Reed. I did when he was in NXT. I liked him a lot. And I was really, really excited to see where he was going to go as they called him up to the main roster, which I thought was kind of the next logical step. I think he's a very good big man. We saw him last at Free the Narrative, the very end of Free the Narrative. So we really didn't know what was going to happen. And then there were all those rumors and stuff like that. He was going to show up at Impact and blah, blah, blah. And he never did. The fact that he's back, the fact that he challenged Moose has me pretty excited because whether or not maybe he's signed to AAA or he's signed to Impact or whichever, maybe he's going to split time between both. I'm just excited to see him again. So that is my number 2. All right, Von Wagner's debut on SmackDown with Adam Pearce. GCW is crazy this weekend. It's hard to pick a top 3. Aaliyah, says SC. Okay, Jeff, what was your number 1?
All right, man. Number 1 for me this week is pretty obvious, I think. The Cowboy, right? Hangman Adam Page winning the AEW World Title, number 1. Kudos to AEW for how they built this story. This, folks, we used to say this term a lot on here. This is the definition of long-term storytelling. So if you're a fan of AEW, if you're a fan of Adam Page, then you got a huge payoff last night. And, kudos to you too, because you were patient and didn't gripe about it per se. It was just, you were patient with it. And, kudos for the fans that, got that payoff, because that's a cool moment as a fan to be invested in a storyline and you finally get that payoff like that. So that's my number 1.
Yeah, I'm just going to piggyback on that. How could you not? Again, like Jeff was saying, if you're a wrestling fan and you see a storyline going on for as long as this one has, And there were people on the socials getting impatient. There were people who, listen. I was almost shocked when I heard Bully Ray on Busted Open say, "Well, maybe we shouldn't do this right now. Maybe who's going to be the guy who is Kenny pretty much brought eyes to that product. Is Adam Page going to be a guy who's going to bring those kind of eyes to their product? So I'm sure there was some nervousness there about pulling the trigger. But we talked about this earlier, and we said that, it does seem like he's going to be a good guy to carry them forward. I do think he will bring eyes to their company. I think that he'll bring people in that may have not watched before, who will certainly watch now. And it was definitely a long-term storytelling, no doubt, 2 years in the making. It had to be the number one moment of the week, and a lot of people's number one moment of the week, going forward, thinking that, are they going to finally give him the belt? And not knowing whether or not they would. All I will say is that keep your eye on that Dynamite, that one that is going to be held in his hometown, not this week's, but the following week's. Keep your eye on that, because they're probably going to plan some sort of big celebration for him there. And that is probably when you are going to see someone come out and interrupt it. Whether it's going to be Daniel Bryan, whether it's going to be someone else, we'll see. So very interesting. But yes, again, my number one moment as well. So absolutely. All right. There you go. Our top 3 of the week. Let's see what else people are saying here. Hangman Page wins the title and Roman is the king, says Jason. Some crazy light tube spots. Rocky Romero versus Bryan Danielson. Great match. Bronson Reed confronts Moose, says Jason. Page versus Danielson. Perfect time to elevate Hangman even more. Hangman's story culminates after 2+ years. Some things are well worth waiting for, says the Coop. Okay. All right. Well, that's it. We are done with our favorite moments of the week. Next, light side, I believe, right?
Yep, lighter side of the ring. So we're gonna talk about something that some people might be afraid of, and he could certainly be scary. But there were times where this guy was pretty darn funny and hilarious. So, Doink the Clown.
This dude, if you were terrified of clowns, you probably did not enjoy when this guy came out to the ring. Because, look at that face and the skull mask that he's wearing and stuff like that, and the makeup that he had on. And this dude was he's pretty creepy if you didn't like clowns. It always reminded me, and I don't know, I meant to go back because I knew we were going to talk about him, and I meant to go back and check to see exactly when he debuted, and I'm almost kind of wondering if this character kind of debuted maybe not that far or very close to when Stephen King did his first It miniseries on TV with Pennywise, because if you remember, and if you've gotten to see, now I know a lot of you you're younger, so the only It you will know is the movie. But there was a miniseries that was done years and years ago, and they had another person that played that role. Oh my God, I always forget this dude's name. He was in Little Shop. Thank you. Yes. But I always said, you got the one in the movies now who talks very quietly. He talks like this, and he makes you creeped out because he talks with a really low voice and soft and quiet. The other one. And this is what I pictured when this dude would come out. He would talk like a smoker, like a really bad smoker, and it had that bad stuff, the thing going on with his lungs. And then, you always think of, when you were younger. And I used to be in Boy Scouts when I was younger, right? And you'd have to go door to, imagine this. We used to have to go door to door trying to sell stuff when you're in Boy Scouts to try to raise money for your troop back then. So the thing you feared the most is knocking at that door and then getting that one, that older lady who'd come to the door, and she'd have the hairnet on, and she'd have the smoke, the cigarette sticking out of the corner of her mouth, and she'd walk in. Hey, Toots. What do you want, Toots? And she'd have that real deep voice. When this guy first came out, I thought, oh, dear God. And that's really all I could picture. I'm thinking to myself, this guy should have a cigar in his mouth, and just come down with that, like a gravelly voice like that, and it would be absolutely terrifying. The fact that you would get the clown makeup and then, like, have him chomping on an old cigar coming down and have him talk like this with the real, and just do that kind of stuff. But Doink was hilarious. And then what did he have? He had the smaller clown, Doink and Dink, right?
Yeah, Doink and Dink. Yep. Yep. Doink and Dink.
Oh my gosh. This was
so, to answer your question.
Yep.
It the miniseries came out in 1990.
Okay.
Doink debuted in 1992.
See?
So.
Yep. I'd almost guarantee you that he probably came out with that after he heard Tim Curry playing that clown on It. Because again, wrestling reflects things that are going on in society, and things that are popular in society become gimmicks. So when Tim Curry did that clown and he had the nose on a beat Richie and had that voice that he used, I can almost guarantee you that he came up with this gimmick pretty much around the same time. Like, that dude is terrifying. These kids on this show, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to terrify kids in the arena. But yeah, Doink was humorous, yes. But like Jeff said, could have been terrifying as well. Doink was way ahead of his time. He would have fit in AAA perfectly today. Clowns these days, says James Grant. Is it not Jericho that hates clowns? Sean says Aaliyah winning, Hangman winning, Pat McAfee dancing on the commentary table while Roman was looking at him ashamed. McAfee's he's a funny dude. I remember Macho Man putting over Doink's wrestling ability. Doink debuted in '93 around springtime. Yeah, Jeff just looked it up. Pogo the Clown in XPW is a perfect creeper clown. Pennywise. Jeff, what did you think about Doink when did you remember first seeing him?
Oh yeah, like at first I was creeped out because I had, watched It. So I'm like, why is Pennywise wrestling now? That's basically what I thought. But then like then you get to see the funny side, and then you get Dink introduced, and then they started doing all the hijinks and all that stuff, and it was funny. I mean, after you get over your fear of clowns, after it scars you, then it's pretty funny. So it was good stuff. It was good stuff.
After you see him, after you feel that he's not going to drag you down into a sewer and have say, we all float down here. That's it.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Yeah. So good stuff. Doink was awesome. One of those tweener characters that he could just come down and terrify the crap out of a bunch of kids, and at the same time, when he's in the ring, the stuff that he would do and the things that he did with Dink was funny stuff. So yeah, great stuff. Just like Sting's Crow look. Yeah, well, Sting's Crow look took advantage of the fact that the movie The Crow came out around that time. So yeah, absolutely. Jesse, if you're in the chat, tune up the band. Yes, it is that time of the evening. Folks, we are about to get out of here. But before we do, we have our own Jesse Calynn Corner. And it is time for the comedy section of the show. So, Jesse, if you are ready, you are up and ready to go. If you're new to the channel, make sure that you hit the subscribe button. We'd really, really appreciate that. We're approaching 2,500, so that's very cool. We hit an upload milestone. I think it was like 400 uploads or something like that. So that's cool as well. Thank you all for doing that. We really appreciate that. So make sure you subscribe if you haven't done so already. Make sure you put a like up on the stream tonight. Also, we'd really appreciate that. And if you want to know when we have future content, make sure you hit that notifications button as well. Jesse says, I'm here. Very cool. I've got 6 or 7, so here they go. Tazzy says it's that time. Don't forget, we should be back tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with Jody and Jeff for Abby's Window. We will let you know and keep you abreast of that. All right, here we go. Number 1. Why can't blind people eat fish? Because it's sea food. Jesse, you set yourself up. You set yourself up that whole fish thing, and you start off with a fish joke. See, you have C up in those rafters up there. You have him just frothing at the mouth. Yeah. Oh man, that was good. That was funny. Sting's Crow character is a brainchild of Scott Hall, according to Eric Bischoff. Scott Hall must have been a fan of the Crow. Crow's a great movie. Love it. Very tragic. Because we lost Brandon Lee due to it, but yeah, excellent movie. If you haven't seen it, good to go watch it. So, all right, there's number one. I don't know if we have our critic tonight. He might not be here. So there's Tazzy now becoming the critic. All right,
another fish joke?
Are you seriously? Yes, just asking for it. You're just asking for it. What do fish take to stay healthy? Vitamin C. I think she's purposely doing it. She's asking for it.
I think so.
Oh my God.
I think so.
As he says, it smells like fish right now. Oh my God.
Oh boy.
Oh my gosh. So yes, make sure you join us for Abby's tomorrow with Jeff and Jody at 6 p.m. Eastern time. If something happens where we can't do it or whatever, we'll let you know. And then make sure you come back at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Thursday for Impact Wrestling's Go Home show for the pay-per-view on Saturday. So make sure you join us for that. All right, we're waiting for number 3. Number 3, where are you? Where are you, number 3?
There we go.
It's not a fish joke. My person told me my dad is like Hurricane Katrina. I haven't seen either since 2005. Wow. These are some, okay. All right. These are some, Big Dan says, what does the shark mafia leave in the beds of folks who refuse to pay up? Fish heads. Don't get me started. I've already done the fish head song live. I don't want to do it again. I'll probably destroy my voice. I absolutely love that song. Love it. Love it. Love it. That brings back memories of the Dr. Demento show for me. How much do we fish? Number 4. Why did the gym close down? It just didn't work out. Oh, okay.
That's good.
Okay.
That's good.
All right. That was good. I think her critic fell asleep tonight. Tazzy says, love you, Jesse. Oh my gosh, Tazzy! Shout out in the chat while Jesse's doing the next one. What do you got going on this week? Let us know, and we'll shout it out to everybody so that they know what you're up to. Let us know what you are planning to do this week. Oh, that's right. I don't know. That's right. I think Tazzy got it out there. I don't know if Tazzy is going to be doing anything this week. But anyway, let us know, and we'll get word out there to people if you are.
Yep.
Waiting for number 5. What's next, Jesse? What is next? In the meantime, don't forget we got that big weekend coming up. We've got the Hernandez interview on Friday, which we will get out to you. We'll let you know when that will be released. There's number 5. If I'm the night guard at the Samsung store, does that make me a guardian of the galaxy? Cell phone humor. I could use that at work. Yeah, in case you're not sure, that is the Galaxy is a Samsung device. Yes. Big Dan says, did you hear about Scrooge's slow-witted southern cousin, Forrest Grump? Oh, man. Wow. Dan, is your football team winning? I didn't look at the score lately.
They are not, Joe.
They're losing to Kansas City? Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the score?
As of right now, 27-14.
Oh, 27-14. Oh, brother, Mahomes is going off too, and I think the dude I'm playing in fantasy has Mahomes, so he's probably going to beat me now. All right, waiting on number 6. Number 6. Yeah, so don't forget the Hernandez interview Friday. Saturday night we have Impact pay-per-view, so Turning Point is Saturday night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and then again SummerSlam is next Sunday. So all right, number 6 and final. What do you do when you finish a magazine at a hospital?
Jeez.
Reload and keep shooting? Jesse's jokes are morbid tonight. Morbid? Jeez. Wow. All right. Whew. Okay.
No, right. I'm not frozen. This is my...
Yeah. Here's Tazzy's schedule. Tuesday, NXT 2.0 Watch Along Party, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Wednesday, MLW Watch Along Party, 6:45 Eastern Time. Non-PG. So non-PG MLW Watch Along. So there you go. All right, cool. So there's Tazzy's streams for the week. Make sure you join him. Check out his channel. Also, of course, Conrad was in the chat. Check out Everything Pro Wrestling for all things AEW. He does reviews of all their shows, so make sure you go and check that out when the show ends. And yeah, check out C Wrestling stuff as well. He does the What You Might Have Missed videos for all of WWE's content, and our other friends as well. I know Marie Shadows was doing stuff about AEW yesterday also, so check out her channel also. So there you go. All right, guys, that is going to do it for us for this week. Lots of stuff to cover. Hope you all had a wonderful week in wrestling. I hope you all enjoyed what you enjoy. And, yeah, that's really the biggest thing is like what you like, enjoy what you enjoy, and hopefully it makes you all happy. So, again, no weekly wrestling wrap-up next week. We will not have that because of the Impact pay-per-view and then the pay-per-view on Sunday. We will have the Impact pay-per-view prediction show on After the Impact on Thursday night, so you'll have to come back after the Impact show ends for that show to hear what our predictions will be for Saturday. And then as far as Survivor Series, I don't think we're going to have time to do an actual prediction show. So what we may do is just get everybody's predictions together in like a short video and release that on the channel. Okay. That is it, guys. Have a great rest of your Saturday, have a great rest of your Sunday. And stay safe out there. Be kind to one another. So from Jeff and from myself, we hopefully will see you all on our next broadcast. And hope you have a great rest of your night. And we will talk to you all soon. Have a good night, all.